Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Dayna with From Fertility to Delivery. I want to talk about a touchy subject that happens at the end of your pregnancy, which is being induced. So the average length of a pregnancy is anywhere between 39 to 40 weeks of being pregnant from when the date of your last period to the time thereafter. So that can be calculated once you find out you're pregnant, and then from there on, you are on a clock, basically. Now, let's look at what is actually happening. The baby comes when they want to come. Our first son was a week early. Our second son was 6 weeks early. That was not my plan at all. But they come when they want to come. They can come early, but they can also come very late. 40-week deliveries. 41, 42, 43, 45, 44, and 45 week pregnancies. Now, in the Western medicalized world, that is a lifetime of being pregnant. And anything over 40 weeks, that's when your healthcare provider gets a little nervous. Now, some will be very flexible with you, most likely if you have a midwife, and they will allow for extra weeks. But some of them are very stringent and rigid, and they will want to induce you. So I want to talk about being induced during at the end of your pregnancy and what that looks like when you use hypnobirthing and how you can manage and maneuver that situation. Now, being induced basically means that they do certain tactics and techniques to create and stimulate the birth. They may give you Pitocin, which is synthetic oxytocin. And what that does is it creates a cascade of interactions and chemicals in the body to start to actually give birth. What Pitocin also does is it creates longer, stronger contractions. They're much stronger and they really are intense. That's what I've heard. I was never given Pitocin before because I worked on all of the hypnobirthing aspects with my both births that I went through. But I did get Pitocin after both births because the first birth I was hemorrhaging. They were looking at the bleeding and they wanted it to stop. And the second one, I don't know, they just like to give Pitocin in the hospital. So, I'm not here bad-mouthing the hospital. I'm not bad-mouthing the Western medicalized establishment or complex, industrial complex. But what I do want is to have a real conversation about what this stuff does to your body. So Pitocin, it'll come into the system, create really long and strong contractions. They become shorter, and it messes up the flow of the oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is created in the pituitary gland, and it's created for the body to open up like a flower. It's the love hormone. And when we hear about oxytocin, we hear about beautiful feelings in the body. So when you have practiced hypnobirthing and you've gone through all of the steps, which is what I teach, bliss-born hypnobirthing, where you calm the mind and you can go inside and really connect with who you are and really focus on what your goal is to have a very calm, peaceful birth, you are able to use that oxytocin and open up like a flower. And the body has easier contractions. They still come through and you still feel them, but they're very manageable. Now, when you introduce Pitocin into the mix, Pitocin is called oxytocin, but it's synthetic oxytocin. It's fake, it's lab created. And it has a lot of stuff in there that is not good for you postpartum. It actually has chemicals that creates postpartum depression. And that's not something you're going to hear anywhere. Myself and some friends, we did some intuitive insights into Pitocin to figure out what it was doing in the body, and we discovered this. So I don't have any medical tests on the fact that it does increase postpartum depression, But intuitively, it came in very strong that it was exactly what was happening. And that's why we have such an issue with postpartum depression in Western civilizations, where we are having hospital births and we are introducing this chemical during the childbirth scenario. And it's actually creating long-term effects. Now, once you go through a long time of having long, hard contractions, the body gets scared, the subconscious gets scared, and it hunkers down. So you may go from being dilated. They may check you and say, hey, you're at 9 centimeters dilated, which is 10 centimeters. At 10 centimeters, you're pretty much ready to have the baby. And then you go down to like 5 centimeters or 4 centimeters. So your body is contracting because it's hurting. And the normal, natural attributes of the Pitocin, the oxytocin, I mean, that you created in your pituitary gland is shut down. So it stops the body's natural flow of birth. What happens after that is the cascade of interventions. Now, I made a whole video on this, so please take a look. It was about a couple months ago, if you're watching this in July of 2024. But basically, and I can put this in a link in the description for the YouTube video, but you will find it in my past videos about the cascade of interventions. If you've done a really great job with bliss-born hypnobirthing or any sort of childbirth course that shows you how to use the body's natural ability to give birth, and then you introduce a foreign product, a synthetic product, it will throw your body off course. And you may end up with a C-section that you didn't plan, that was needed because your body, everything was thrown off course. I've seen this happen before. It's really frustrating because you do all of this work and then you have to be induced because you're at 40 weeks or 42 weeks and maybe the baby's growing and you do have to have the baby right away. Maybe there's a complication. We have to take everything with a grain of salt. If there is a complication, the success and the health of the baby and the mom comes first, no matter what. So if you end up with a C-section, it is what it is, and you end up with a healthy baby and a healthy mom. That's number one, top priority goal every single time. What we're trying to do, though, is to make sure that you get your wishes fulfilled. And you also have the birth that you desire, that you envisioned. Every birth is different. Things happen. A lot of different things have happened to me, so I get it. But what I want to say in this video is that it's important to exhaust every single type of scenario before you go to Pitocin. Don't just go straight to the medical intervention. Figure out and ask and pressure your healthcare provider, whoever, or your midwife, whoever is assisting you with this birth. Is there something else? Again, I am not a healthcare provider or a midwife, so I'm not trained from a medical standpoint, but I have heard that some of the natural inducing products that you can use, castor oil, is gross, but you could actually ingest it and it will help with birth. There are certain things that you can ask a midwife that are all natural that you can use for becoming induced. Being sexually active with your partner right before birth, within that 40-week period, if things are slowing down, that helps because that opens up the area, and the sperm actually helps to open up the cervix. So that's important as well. Spicy foods, I've heard, may or may not help. And there's a list of things. I'm not going to go over everything right now. Maybe I'll do a video just for natural ways to induce. But for now, I just want to talk about the importance of looking at what is being offered to you and making sure that it's in your best interest. Now, baby comes when they're ready to come. So if they come early, too early is really tricky, but it could also be successful depending on how the situation looks. Too late is also very tricky because maybe baby is at, 10 pounds, 11 pounds. Baby is still growing while they're inside of you. So it's looking at all of the scenarios, but just honor what your feelings are. Share your feelings with your healthcare provider and make sure that you are on the right path for what you desire and your partner. Don't ever give up on your desires, because that day when you give birth, you will remember it for the rest of your life. And then every time your son or daughter has a birthday, you will relive the day that they were born. So you want to make it beautiful. You want to make it at least trauma possible, because traumatic anniversaries are very hard to digest and they have to be cleared and cleaned. So there's a lot of things that go on with this, but it's really important that we give ourselves the best path moving forward. So you can find a lot of information on my website, fromfertilitytodelivery.com. And I have a lot of videos that talk about childbirth, hypnobirthing, if you're interested in what that is, what that looks like. And a lot of information on fertility, spirit baby communication, and learning how to navigate all of this. And just a quick reminder that I have an inner circle in July on the 25th. It's Thursday at 9 p.m. And this is a Zoom call that's live that we're going to talk about spirit baby communication. And we're also going to connect with, give you a lot of tools to connect with your spirit baby. It is $20 and that's the investment, but it's a very low investment for what you're getting. And it's a great way to taste what my spiritual fertility class is all about. And then if you missed the live, you can always listen to the replay. And if you missed purchasing the live, the replay is also on my website for $25. So it's a great deal for what you're looking to accomplish, which is to bring that baby earthside. Thank you for being here. Lots of love, and I'll see you in the next video. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And I also have a Rumble presence. And again, my website is fromfertilitytodelivery.com. Thank you for being here, and many, many blessings to you.